Yeah, hi, good evening everyone. Himanshu, you can start. Hi, good evening everyone. So, Himanshu, you can start. Yeah, hi everyone. We'll wait three more minutes. I think there is an internet issue at this end, so we'll wait 2 more minutes.
Hi everyone, hope you guys are doing well. Ayush and Nikhil, can you confirm is my screen visible?
No, yeah, no, screen is not visible.
No, Himanshu.
I think,
Now is it visible?
No, not yet.
no.
Yes, now it is.
Yes, no, yes, no. Oh, it is visible.
Okay, okay, so hello everyone. Today we will be covering the topic calling program and parameter passing. And in this session, we will be learning the different type of parameter passing, where the parameter passing would be using the fixed format and using the ILE concepts in the fixed and free format both. So first, we will cover the agenda of this slide. So for agenda, like we have the calling program and parameter passing, and then we have our second topic as the parameter passing using plist and the parameter passing using the ILE concepts in fixed and free format both. And then we will be covering few operations over the parameter passing that can be used to manipulate the data, that is the const star no pass and the star omit. And then at the end we will be having the Q&A session. Okay, so what is calling program and parameter passing? Basically, calling program is used to call one program from another program, and parameter passing is used to send or receive the information between two programs. Let's say we have program one, and in program one we have two parameters as ID and name, and we want to send those information of ID and name to the second program. Then we will use the parameter passing, and whenever we will be using the parameter passing concept, it will not consider the exact name of those parameters. The type and length should be same for those parameters, and those parameter will be considered as the parameter list for the second program. Okay, and parameters can be passed through calling program and received by the receiving program, and those parameters could be either character, either string, numeric values, or the data structures or logical values. So we'll be seeing those different types of parameters in the program. So the first method of parameter passing is using plist. So plist is referred as the parameter list, and this method of parameter passing is used with fixed format, and playlist is used in the receiving program. And for this playlist, the length could be different, but we will cover that case. Okay, let me quickly go through in debug how this will work. Okay, so for this program, I use this data structure, the employee DS, and it is declared in dspec. As I mentioned, that plist can be used for the fixed format program. And in fixed format, if we want to declare the data structure, it would come into the dspec, and below this data structure line we need to declare the fields that will come across this data structure. So I took three fields here for this data structure. The first field is name with length 20 and type character. Character is denoted with symbol A. Then the department field with character 10, and then employee ID with zone decimal position 0. Note this point that whenever we were declaring the separate variables, those variable would be considered as the standalone variable, and we need to declare the S below this DS. But as those fields comes with this data structure, so we don't need to declare the standalone in the type. Then in C spec, we will write the call statement. So the operation would be call, and the RCV PGM1 would come into the factor 2. The parameter would come into the result factor, and the star entry comes into the factor 1. I hope you guys already read about factor 1, factor 2, and the result factor in the previous sessions. And this program will come into this single code, and this would be case sensitive. So you need to take care of the case sensitivity of while defining the program name into this call statement. And below this call statement, we will write the parameter in the C spec. In operation, we will write the PARM, and in result vector, we will write the parameter that we wanted to pass to the receiving program. I'll quickly take F10 for the next step, and then I'll take Shift F10 to go into this program. Okay, so this is the receiving program. And for receiving program, we have this pay list, that is the parameter list. And as I mentioned, we will write the star entry into the factor 1. And below this pay list will be having the parameters in the C spec, and parameters will come into the result factor. And then in this parameter, I am passing the value Rakesh Junjunwala with the eval operation. So what it will do, it will eval the value of this name into this field. We can see that this name is assigned with name Rakesh, and then it will return to the calling program. And now we will check in this calling program whether we received the value of this name field from the receiving program or not. So we will pass the full string into this name field. So this is how we'll do the parameter passing using plist. And then we have our next topic is the parameter passing using ILE. So for ILE concepts, we'll be having the two type of parameter passing, the parameter passing using ILE into the fixed format, and the parameter passing using ILE into the free format. So I'll be giving a basic idea of this ILE into this PPT, and you will be learning more about ILE in the upcoming session. So how we will achieve the parameter passing using ILE? So for parameter passing using ILE, like it can be used in both fixed and free format. And procedure interface is used to receive the programs, and prototype is used to send the parameters. And for this type of parameter passing, the like the length should be same for both the programs. And whenever we will be performing the ILE operations, then we need to declare the default activation group as star no, and we need to declare some activation group. So here I use the activation group as star no. You will be learning more about those activation groups later. Now I'll quickly show you how we'll achieve the parameter passing using ILE into the fixed format. Okay, so as I already mentioned, we need to declare the default activation group as star no. So it will be declared in the H spec as those were considered as the control option for this program. And for each control option, the control options could comes into the H spec. Then in D spec, I declared three variables with name, department, and ID. And as those variables are not part of the data structure, that means those variables are the standalone variables. So I declared as type here for the standalone variables, and the length and type for those variables is the 20 character, 10 character, and the 4 decimal position 0. And then below this line, I declared the prototype. So as I mentioned, we need to declare the prototype and the procedure interface for the parameter passing using ILE. So we need to declare the prototype into the calling program and procedure interface into the receiving program. Okay. So I'll write this prototype into the D spec, and here we can rename the program name. Whatever program name we have, we can rename here while declaring the prototype for this program. So the receiving program is the RCV PGM3, and it is renamed with the RCV PGM. And here we need to declare the PR, where we were declaring the standalone for the variables and data structures for the data structures. And as those variables are part of those prototypes, so those were not standalone variable. So we can skip the type as for those three variables. And on line number 12, the call statement is written, and call statement will be written in the C spec. And then for operation, the operation would be call P. And for factor 2, like, first we need to write the prototype name. The prototype name that we renamed is the RCV PGM. Then we need to open the parenthesis, and then we need to write the parameters, and those parameters will be separated with colon. If we will pass two parameters, like if the three parameters would declared in the prototype, then we need to pass all those three parameters for the normal scenario. And what were the special scenarios where we can skip those parameters, will cover in the upcoming slide. So I'll do quickly F10, and then it will call the program RCV PGM. And for receiving program, we need to declare the procedure interface. So, and while writing the procedure interface, we need to write the exact program name. So here the RCV PGM3 is written, and then we have just a second. अच्छा यार, मैं इधर बैठ जाता हूँ लोन में. सर एक मीटिंग अटेंड करनी छोटी सी, 10 मिनट की, वो अटेंड. नहीं नहीं, यहाँ ही जा रहा हूँ मैं तो, यही. अच्छा. अच्छा, इधर से चला जा. अरे यार, ये बैठने ही नहीं दे रहे यार. क्या करूँ, मीटिंग करनी है यार. यहीं कर लूँ क्या? नहीं. सर यहाँ आवाज आ रही है. Yes. Okay. So af after writing this procedure interface, we need to assign the values into those three variables. So the variables are the name, department, and ID. And I assigned the values into those three variables. And then this is returned to the calling program. And in this calling program, we can check whether we received those values or not. So we received the values of name, department, and ID into the name, department, ID field. And then we have our next parameter passing. That is the parameter passing using ILE into the free format. So for free format as well, all the rules will be uh, applied, as the default activation group should be star no, and we need to declare some other activation group. And procedure interface is used to receive the parameters, and prototype is used to send the parameters, and length would be same for both parameters. So I'll show you in the debug how this program will work. Okay, so for this program, I wrote the default activation group and the activation group in the control option. And in fixed format, we need to write this into the h spec. And below this line, I declared those three statements where I declared the standalone variables. And this DCLS means declare standalone, and this is the variable name. And then we need to write the type and length for those variables. The type and length for those variables are character 20, and for department we have character 10, and for ID we have this peg 4 with decimal position 0. And then below this line we need to write the prototype. The prototype name is the RCV PGM, as we saw in the last program, that we can change the name of prototype. And in ext PGM, we need to write the exact program name, that is the RCV PGM4, that is renamed to this RCV PGM. And we have three fields in this prototype: name, department, and ID. And on below those three variables there is this statement end PR, which means for end prototype. And then on line number 13, the we need to call that program. So for calling the programs into the free format, there is no need of using the call or call p. We can directly write the program name, and then we can open the parenthesis, and then we can write the parameter list. So I'll do F10 to process, and then shift F10 to jump into the receiving program. And it will be returned to this calling program. And now we will check whether we got values in those fields or not. So we received the values into those fields. Okay, now in next slide we will learn uh, the operations that we can use in this parameter passing. So first we will talk about the const keyword in the parameter passing. So this const can be used to restrict program to change the value of the parameters. Let's say we passed three parameters from program 1 to program 2, and we want our program to, that program 2 should not change the first parameter from the program 1. It should restrict that program to not to change that parameter. And for this concept as well, the uh, like wherever we were using the ILE concept, the PR and PI concepts, the default activation group should be star no, and this const is supported to both free and fixed formats. Okay, so for this program, we have the same declaration of H spec and D spec, and we declared the prototype with name RCVPGM, and the name of receiving program is RCVPGM5. And I want this program to restrict to change the parameter ID. So ID should not be changed with the RCVPGM5. For this, we need to write the const keyword, and on line number 12, I'm assigning the value of ID as 1444, and then I'm calling the receiving program. And in receiving program, we were checking that if ID is 1444 that we received from previous program, then it should assign the values of the name and department field. So it assigned the value of name and department field, and this line number 12 is commented. If we will uncomment this line, then we will get the error while we will compile our source. This source will not be executable if we will use the const keyword, and if we will try to change this ID field. Now we will check the value of name. We got the value of name, then we got the value of department, then we got the value of ID. Then next keyword that we have is the star no pass. So this star no pass is used to bypass the parameter passing, and this program is also supported to both free and fixed format. And whenever we were using the star no pass, it should be sequential. For example, we have one program, and from program 1 we were passing three parameters to program 2, and we want our program 1 to bypass the third parameter. In that case, for third parameter we can specify the keyword star no pass, and then when we will call the receiving program, then we can just pass the first two parameters. We can skip the third parameter as we use the star no pass. And always note that point, that star no pass will only work sequentially. If we want our program to bypass the second parameter, then the star no pass will not work. If we want to bypass the second and third parameter both, then it comes into the sequential section. So it will bypass the second and third if we will use the star no pass for both the parameters. So now I'll show you in the program how this will work. Okay, so for previous program, we have the same declaration of the control type, and the declaration of name, department, and ID. And here I declared the PR for this program RCV 6. And for previous program where we use the option as the const, here we will use the star no pass keyword. And by using this star no pass keyword, when we will call the RCV PGM, we can bypass this parameter ID, and we can only pass the two parameters, name and department. If we will not write this star no pass and we will only pass those two parameters, in that case we'll get error, like you need to pass all those three parameters that were written in the prototype. So I'll do shift F10, F10. Then the value of name is assigned, the value of department is assigned, and then it is returned to this calling program. And now we will check whether we got the values of name and department field. Okay, so the value of name and department field is written from this RCV PGM6. Okay, so the last keyword that we have is the star omit. This star omit is used to bypass the non-sequential parameter passing, and the remaining parameters would be same for the star omit as well. Like both programs should have same parameters. The default activation group should be star no, and the type and the length of those parameters should be same. And omit is also supported to both free and fixed format. I'll show you in program how this will work. Okay, so for this program, on first line statement, I written the control options, and then after control options, we have those three declarations where we were declaring the standalone variables, name, department, and ID. And then here we declared the prototype for this program, as we were sending the parameters from this program. And this RCV 7 is renamed with this RCV, and we will be having three parameters for this prototype, name, department, and ID, with their respective properties, character 20, character 10, and the peg 4 length with decimal position 0. Now we want our program to bypass this second parameter, and it comes into the non-sequential section. So we will write the star omit into the options, and when we will call this RCVPGM, like like we do in the star no pass, we just skipped that parameter and we just passed two parameters, the first two parameters, as we bypassed the third parameter. But in case of star omit, whatever parameter we will be bypassing by this program, we need to write the star omit instead of that parameter. If we will not write the star omit instead of that parameter, or just we will pass the remaining two parameters, we will get the error. So now I'll do shift F10, F10, value of name is assigned, and then F10, it get back returned to this program. And now we'll check the value of name. We received the value of name. Okay, so those were the keywords that we can use to used for the parameter passing. Now I'll quickly get you two more examples of parameter passing. So the first example is this. So as I mentioned in the first slide, that whenever we will be doing the parameter passing, we the name could be different, the name could be anything for the prototype and for the standalone variables, but uh, whenever we were calling the program, the type and length should be same for those parameters. Name could be anything, and this is the example of the star n, where we can skip using the name of those parameters. We can directly pass the type and length for those parameters. So for first statement we have this control option, and then on those three statements we have this name, department and id with their respective property, character 20, character 10, and the pack 40. And here I wrote the procedure name for this procedure. For this procedure, we have this RCV PGM name that is being called, but we renamed this program as RCV PGM. And in this prototype, we want that the three parameter should be there in this prototype, and we will be passing those three parameters. But for this example, we haven't took the name of those parameters. Instead of name, we directly took the star n option, star n for all those three parameters. But the length and type should be same for all those three parameters that we were passing in the call statement. In call statement, we were passing three variables: name, department, and ID. So the type of name is the character 20, and for first parameter we passed the type and length as character 20. Then for second parameter, department, we have this property character 10, and as same in prototype we passed the property for the second parameter is character 10, and for third parameter we passed the properties as pegged 40. In that scenario we can directly pass the parameters. I'll do F10 to go into this RCV PGM9, and then we will assign the values into the P name, P department, and PID. F10. Now we will check whether we got the value by that. Okay, there is one more parameter passing, that is the parameter passing using the parameter passing from CL to RPG. Okay, so this is the CL program, and from this CL program, we will be passing those two parameters, and then those two parameters will generate a addition in the next program. So for first statement, I wrote the PGM that we need to write while we were writing the CL program. So the PGM would be the starting of that program, and the end PGM would be the ending of that program. Then by these two line statements, I declared two variable num1 and num2 with type decimal and length 2. And then with these two statements, I changed the value of the variable num1 with 11 and num2 with 12. And on line number 6, we were calling the RCV PGM2. And here we need to write the parameters. So I'll do F10, Shift F10. Now we will check whether we got the values of num1 and num2. So we got the value of num1 as 11, and we got the value of 12 as num2. And on line number 8, it will generate the addition of those two numbers. So the addition would be 23. and then we have this last line record indicator, and it will return from this program to the previous program. Okay, so like this is all from my side on this topic, calling program and parameter passing. And now we'll be having the Q&A. If you have any query, then you can ask.
Yeah, so anyone have questions, so you can put in the Q&A box so Himanshu can answer. Yeah, Himanshu, there were one more question. There were one question. So they asking like why we are using a standalone variable in prototype. If we don't declare, it will not work. They asking.
Okay, so we were not declaring the standalone variable in the prototype. We were just declaring the variable in the prototype, and we were declaring the standalone variable outside of that prototype. Because whenever like uh, as I'm guessing, you wanted to ask that if we declared the variables in the prototype, what is the need of declaring those variables as standalone variable? Is this your question? Okay, okay. So whenever we were declaring the variable into the prototype, those the scope of those variable would be towards that prototype only, and we will be calling the variables outside of that prototype. So for that we need to declare the standalone variable. Just the type and length should be same for for those parameters. Control option default activation group as star no and activation group as star new. This line one more, and what is the use of it? Okay, so like for this, what you can think of, like it will be a ILE concept, and we will be covering this in detail in the ILE concept. But I'll answer you I'll answer you quick. Like for using the ILE concept, uh, we need to we need to use the new activation group. We cannot use the default activation group. If we will use the default activation group, then the properties of the ILE concepts we cannot use that. For that we have separate session. So like for now you can think of this control option where we need to declare the default activation group as star no.
Any any more question? So they asking like if we don't declare standalone variable, so it will won't work.
So like if we will use those variable outside of that procedure, then it will not work. It will work within that procedure only. The variables that is declared in the PR, that will work in that procedure only. It will not work outside of that procedure.
Yeah, I think they all got his answers. There were one more questions. I think okay, no more questions. We will wait one more minute. Okay, I think there were no more questions, so we are good to wrap up this session. Okay, thank you everyone.